Hey everybody, welcome to Intentional Academy Live, episode 16. Sweet 16, baby. I'm Tony Farrar, joined by Justin Thomas and Nicole Farrar. The three
Yay.
amigos back together again for the first time, all in the same place in, 3 weeks?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's been a
Oh,
little
it's been
while.
yeah.
Here to help you squeeze every last drop of value out of your education while hiding from winter storms. We're gonna
Just stop.
show-
It's almost April. Easter's coming. We're going to go egg hunting in the snow.
Ooh, white eggs will be particularly difficult.
Don't faint your
We're going to show you how to win through the power of intentional learning no matter where you are in life. We're here to help you manage your time, get control of your money, and launch your dream career. This month is really special for the Intentional Academy. We are in the middle of running our big workshop called Midterm Rehab. Quick recap, if you haven't heard of this already, which I think you probably have, this is a workshop that we put together. It's about an hour and a half of video, and it's broken down into small videos. Like the longest one I think is 10 minutes. And along with it comes a workbook that has instructions, examples, and then worksheets for you to fill out that will help you as you watch a video and then you pause and you do the worksheet, implement 5 systems right now, today, that will get you back in control of your time, your money, career. And so tonight we're kind of going to talk about that, but not directly.
I've been really pushing those worksheets because I need action items.
Mm-hmm.
We do a lot of talking, and so I'm pretty excited about having those.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of different types of learners.
Yep.
And so far, the feedback on the worksheets has been phenomenal.
Really?
Yep. More than one person now has said just by reading the instructions, they felt more organized. They didn't even do the worksheet.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, feeling good about that. And yeah, and the videos, you know, the people that have signed up, they're getting these videos and able to watch it. So it's me rambling for a few minutes, show you a couple slides, get you the idea behind things, but then just get you down and get you working on this thing so that you can move forward. It's designed specifically to turn things around quickly. We'll deal with the theory and the dream and the high-level stuff that nerds like me like to talk about later.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So while you're hiding out from the snow tonight, we thought that we could talk about the unexpected, which is one of many things that the systems in midterm rehab will help you handle more effectively.
Mm-hmm. I actually came up with this topic because of the numerous amounts of unexpected things that happened to us this month. We got out of debt, which was awesome. We actually finally got that stupid $1.40. The
I just
hunket.
saw that in the notes. I was laughing.
We paid that off. It's cleared.
Yep.
Stupid.
So I think officially we can claim to be debt free now.
Yes.
It's all paid.
That was so ridiculous.
Almost mailed them that last 40 cents in pennies.
You know, we finally got out of debt and felt like, oh, we can breathe. We went out to dinner, you know, and then slowly but surely after about a week, all these things kept cropping up out of nowhere.
Yep.
Well, maybe not quite out of nowhere, but we weren't quite anticipating them with enough foresight.
So, for example, one of them is just something we've been putting off. That's car repairs.
Yeah.
We got $100.
We got
So
some of that this month and some of that next month.
nice. Yeah. us
Yeah,
too.
but we had an unexpected car issue.
Sitting at a red light and the temperature dropped from like 1/4 where you're happy to 3/4. Just like that. It's just like, oh.
Yeah.
That's a scary moment.
Some antifreeze leaking of some sort.
Oh, beautiful.
Great.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, so that popped up.
My new favorite thing when it comes to car repairs, by the way,
I hate
is
cars.
pay us $100 and we'll tell you what the problem is.
Yeah. Diagnostic.
I get that because you got to work to
I mean,
find out the answer,
sure.
so I get it. But man, wouldn't it be cool if cars could actually just tell you?
Well, I'm sure they've got some computerized new vehicles that are supposed to be able to tell you everything, but
Yeah, right.
Depends on the problem. They
I
can
like
do
to
that now.
to the doctor where they can't tell you where it hurts yet, and they're like just angry and you don't know why. It's like, dear car, just tell me where it hurts and we'll get you medicine.
Little
Well-
fact about the car thing though, real quick. If your
Yeah.
check engine light turns on, don't go to a mechanic and get them to diagnose it. Go to like AutoZone and they'll hook their computer up for free and it'll tell you the error code, so you know exactly what the problem is.
That's cool.
This hour of Intentional Academy brought to you by AutoZone. Get in the zone.
And then somehow the month of March became annual renewal bill month. That I guess we just didn't realize it was
Yeah.
the same month.
By the way,
Somehow.
I've handled this now. I've got a system, but it's new today.
Okay.
So.
Beware the Ides of March.
Yeah, right. Here in the last week, we've watched Amazon Prime click over, Dropbox clicked over, GoDaddy hosting clicked over. It's all these
What's the
things,
other?
and it's like all these renewals where it's like once a year. Oh, car
Oh,
insurance.
that was it. Car
Right,
insurance.
we pay that every
Car
6
insurance every
months.
6 months.
They
Yeah.
give you. By the way, they give you a big discount if you can do that.
Yeah.
Oh
But-
yeah. You know
Which
what
is
that means though, Tony?
Like a huge bill that one time, every 6 months.
So now they're in the calendar, but they're not in the calendar on the day that they cleared, which like today, March 20th, because when we sat down to make the budget March 1st, I wasn't scrolling down to March 20th to see if this was the month for Evernote,
Yeah.
And so instead, put all that stuff at the beginning of the month. And it's like, guess what's happening this month every year?
Yeah.
So
Well, that's good for next year, but we kind of got bombarded after we went out and went crazy and ate out to dinner
Yeah.
and all kinds of stuff. And then towards the end of the month, we were like, guess we're not saving anything this.
right. And yet we've avoided financial ruin
True.
because of a super magical, top secret strategy that only the super savvy know about.
You mean you didn't have an anxiety attack when all those hit?
You know what's weird? It sort of just happened like randomly. It wasn't on the same day. And I was like, oh man, we're saving $100 less this month because of the oil change. Oh man, Amazon Prime, we're not students anymore.
Oh,
Death.
gosh.
That went up.
Yep. Death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Yeah, basically. It was
And so why aren't we
crazy.
freaking out? The emergency fund.
Mhm.
Ding.
Well, and we were trying to save
Well, sure.
this month. so
But
we
the
had some buffer,
but if we hadn't had the buffer, we still would have
Sure.
been okay. And the reason for it is the emergency fund.
Mhm,
So 2 of the systems that we will help students get in place
mhm.
as they are dealing with their mid-semester and wondering if there's more semester than there is savings is to put emergency fund in place for all that stuff that's hard to predict.
Mhm.
Now, I feel like people think that you have to be really good at money and really good at organizing yourself before you can do any of this stuff. And this is the perfect example why that's just not true, right? If we were super on top of things and super organized, we would have known this month to budget for all that crap that we forgot about, because none of them were real surprises other than the car making a funny noise.
Yeah, but they
Right.
were surprises essentially that they were this month to us because we
Right.
didn't record that, which we should have.
Right. So one lesson there is
But-
figure out how to make yourself get reminded on these annual bills and random crap. But the other part of it is having enough of a buffer.
Yeah.
And so for us, we had, and this is, the first thing we did when we were getting out of debt and everything else was put aside an emergency fund that covers enough of life that you can, make a couple of these mistakes while you're figuring out how your budget works
Mhm.
without overdrafting, paying fees, or even worse, slapping it all on a credit card so that you can keep the lights on.
Mhm.
And so we tell students to, focus on an amount that works for them. For us, what we did was basically 1 month of house bill. And so our rent plus the, electricity and that kind of stuff, that was our emergency fund. And that way, if something went sideways, we at least had enough that we could cover 1 month of that expense.
Mhm.
And that's how much we kind of defined. And all we did, this wasn't even anything complicated. We just made that the new zero for our bank account.
Mhm.
And so once a month,
Mhm.
anything that was left over above that after paychecks and bills were paid then went to student loans. This month goes to savings, which for the first time ever, that's pretty cool. And so that's it. It's super simple as long as you can discipline yourself. not to spend beyond that line.
Mm-hmm. Justin,
Yes.
any unexpected expenses?
We had a tree that needed to come down with splitting in the backyard last year, 2 years ago, that needed to go. So we had planned, the reason the guy was out there, we had planned on him cutting off a couple branches that were hanging over our house from another tree, and then we were walking around and he goes, that's splitting all the way down the middle, and I had never even realized it.
Oh, you're not a landscape expert?
Oh, no. That's one that's hit us. The one thing we have learned the last few years is that taxes, we don't get tax returns, so we know that we have to make sure we have the money saved up to pay that when it comes to March, April time. But that's gone out the door. So we were ready for that this year. We didn't freak.
I remember
we've done that before, and we would.
We're like, what? I had to write a really big check.
Yeah, well, we had to do it the last few years, but we're using the tax software in it. A little bit off, a little bit less of a payment, a little bit less of a payment. We're just like, oh, please, keep going down.
Yeah.
So that, expense wise, it just happens. I already know we need to do some work to my wife's car. We have to do a transmission flush, and her tires need to be rotated, and we have to do an alignment and all that kind of stuff. I know next month, if I'm going to pass inspection, I need 4-wheel disc brakes and rotors. That's not going to be cheap.
And then the unexpected part will be that on the way home from getting those tires rotated, you're going to hit something and pop one up.
Yeah, let's not talk about that because they're expensive.
Knocking on wood.
Well, gosh, we've been talking about, I just won't even get into cars because I literally loathe them. It's just the worst expense ever. But it's terrible. But I was freaking out because we were talking about how much money we were going to put into this car to repair it because there were a lot of things that needed to be done. And it's just not worth that much money. And it's like, okay, we could put this money into it and it'll probably last a while until somebody hits me. It gets totaled and we get like
get any of that money back. Yeah.
Like, so that's like, I mean, obviously
or you duct tape it up and take a couple of months emergency fund savings, or not emergency fund savings, but savings.
Sure.
And buy another one.
Yeah, but I mean, we wouldn't be able to save enough. I mean, that'd be like all of our savings if we were going to get a decent car. You know what I mean? True. And it's our only vehicle right now, so
that's
we have to.
The math we did on it. That's kind of weird. Is the amount it costs in repairs plus that car. How much more would you have to add to move up slightly? And the answer was still a big gap. And so for us right now, it just made more sense to just keep this one running a bit longer until we can really decide what we want to do.
Try and never drive it because I've been in car accidents where somebody hit me and I got totaled.
Yeah.
The car got totaled. It's just completely out of my control. And that's why we have one car. Because my last car got totaled and we figured out how to survive on one car.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, it's also why we have full coverage on a 15-year-old car.
Yeah.
2005.
Yeah.
15, 16-year-old car.
It's crazy.
I can do math. 13-year-old. Why can't I do this math today?
It's 13 if it's 2005.
I've been awake for too many hours.
Yes.
I put all of my brilliance into the videos that you should go watch as you go through midterm rehab. It's all there.
Yeah.
And email is at the top of the screen, rehab@intentionalacademy.com.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. That is how you sign up for it. It's super easy. You just send an email there, and we get you connected. That way, when you have $1.40 in unexpected student loan bills, you too can figure out how to pay it.
I so wanted to reach through the phone that night when you were trying to make that payment.
Oh, I'm trying to give you money.
Oh, it's so bad. I mean, I felt like we tried every single combination of the right numbers, too. Like, it just glitched out eventually. Or was I just so excited that I couldn't type an intelligent number?
I was worried about paying them extra interest when all you needed to do was pay what the balance said, and that was it.
No. Yeah. The last bill didn't work that way anyhow. If you're wondering what we're talking about, you should go back in time a couple weeks and watch that video. It's hilarious. I eat a taco right here on screen. So speaking of time.
Yes. What about time?
One of the other things that we do in midterm rehab is we take the idea of time is money that somebody said one time, and we just run with that unabashedly way too far. And we drive that analogy all the way home. And we don't only teach you how to budget your money, we teach you how to budget your time. And so what's funny is all the same ideas kind of apply. Instead of having an emergency fund, I have white space in my schedule for that thing that I didn't know was going to happen. Like this big, huge grading assignment that got dumped on me last week that I had completely forgotten about. And it's 100% on me, just like not remembering that Amazon was going to click over in the renewals. Somebody told me at the beginning of the semester. I put it on my calendar, and then I promptly forgot about it anyway and didn't see it on my calendar. Like, hey, did you do that thing? It's like, yeah. Thank goodness that I had a time-based emergency fund of white space in my time budget. And if that sounds like Chinese to you and you don't speak Chinese,
It's important.
then you should definitely check out Midterm Rehab, because what we do there is completely different. I don't think I've seen anybody talk about managing their time the way we do. The whole goal is helping people be on top of things, manage their commitments, and still have free time to do all the things they want to do. You know, everybody hates the idea of some strict, regimented routine, all this, shackles, and we protect that.
Yeah, it's not even it though. It sounds like you're committing to a minute by minute thing, but that's not the case. What you're really doing is saying, this is as much time as I'm willing to give this activity. Because I feel like the number one problem if you will talk to anybody is that they realize they've spent way too much time on something, or after the fact realized I could have spent less time and probably gotten about the same result.
Yep.
Or putting it on the time budget and realizing just how much extra time you do have.
Yep.
Yeah. Ooh.
Or don't have and
Or
realize
don't
you're
have.
spending yourself realistically.
Yep.
Because if you start committing to all these things and you lay it out on paper, in one hand, you're like, yeah, I could find time for that. I could find time for that. And then you write it all down. And you're like, okay, if I'm actually going to do this and sleep and make a real commitment to these 10 things, there actually aren't enough hours in the day. Like that could happen when you lay it all out. You're like, oh my gosh.
And usually what happens, at least somebody like me, I'm a perfectionist. And so I will work on something until I think it is perfect, and then move on to the next thing, only to discover that that cascades through the week until finally I run into something that I really need to do a good job on, and I got no time left to do it. And the reason is, all the way back on Monday, I was being a perfectionist on something. So one of the things that I talk to my students about is, what's the worst grade you can get in college?
An F?
An F. Justin, what's the worst grade you can get in college?
An incomplete.
I think the worst grade you can get in college is 100.
Okay.
I know, it's cheesy. Bait and switch, gotcha.
Uh-huh.
The reason that the 100 is the worst grade you can get is that it doesn't give you any feedback on how much overachieving you've done. Did you actually get 150 and just not get that extra credit?
Or you would have easily gotten an A with a 94.
Exactly. I think the perfect grade in college is a 94. Because it's an A, it's not an A minus, but it lets you know that you tried just hard enough.
Yeah.
And so actually with a lot of students, when they're really stressed, one of the things I tell them is lighten up a little bit. See how bad you have to do before you get a B. Now, for other people, I know you're working really hard to get your grade to go the other way. So I'm really talking to a very specific person here, which is the overachieving perfectionist. But, the person who's struggling to get from a C to a B, that's probably more of a different type of time management issue, and we can help there too.
Well, that time management issue has to do with, are you spending the right amount of time in the right area to improve yourself?
I'll give you a hint. The answer is no.
No, but I mean, overextending and doing the most. When I used to do poorly, it's because I spent too much time worrying about something. That's just me personally, but I know that that's a struggle for a lot of people. It's you try and study too much, and then it all just becomes jumbled and you can't remember anything.
Right.
So.
Which brings me back to why the time budget thing is so good. Because if you say, okay, I've got an assignment, and this assignment gets 3 hours of my life, and then I stop, period. Do you know what happens when you're an hour and a half into that 3-hour assignment? If you're not halfway done with it, you've got an indicator that it's time to pause and go get some help.
And a professor will tell you how long something should take you if you're going to be, they have expectations of their students and what they expect is going to take.
Because one of the things that I discovered is that, we faculty, we actually do want to help you, but we can't come to you and make you let us. You kind of have to come to us. So things like office hours, which are typically very uncrowded, I use this if I spent half my time and I'm not halfway done. That's an indicator to me that I'm not quite getting this, and I could bang my head against it and be stubborn and spend 6 more hours doing something that I should only take an hour to do, or I could just get a little help, because clearly there's something I'm missing.
How many students have you told me come to you and say, but I spent 20 hours on this? And you say, you were only supposed to spend 3.
And you got the wrong answer.
So
yeah.
Something's not lining up there.
Yeah. And so that's part of time budgeting, it turns out, is saying, okay, this is how much I'm going to give this, because that way if I'm not halfway done at the halfway point, either I'm being a picky perfectionist and I need to lighten up a little bit, or I'm not understanding this and it's time to go get some help.
And it's not just for what seems our discussions are focused on undergrad students either, especially for people who are getting their master's or PhD. Tony working from his master's to his PhD was drastically different when he started implementing these things, because you could get stuck in a warp zone of trying to write a thesis.
Or
hours and hours.
The mechanic,
no focus.
Yeah, the mechanical engineer who gets lost in computer programming because he's got to get instrumentation to talk to each other, and now all of a sudden it's like I just spent 7 hours of my life hunting for a missing semicolon. Yeah.
No.
By the way, there are strategies for finding that missing semicolon in 30 seconds that I just didn't know at the time, because I hadn't learned that. And if I had budgeted my time, I would have paused and gone and gotten some help.
Hey, Justin, do you have any time budget information on professional?
So for me, I work for a program and we interface with a lot of different naval platforms. And so if you look at my Outlook calendar at work, I have meetings over top of meetings over top of meetings. So not only do I have to have white space to do work that I can't do during meetings, but I also have to have an understanding between my groups and the people that are running those meetings as to if my presence is necessary. So a lot of times I'm trying to find the agendas and saying, oh, my program's not even on the agenda today, so I can focus my time here. So a lot of my stuff is kind of populated for me, and I just have to figure out what exactly of those things I need to focus on, but I can see them, and then I have white space to take care of the fires, the data calls, the random emails about something you had no idea was happening, or we're going to have snow in the middle of March on the first day of spring, and we're supposed to have our first interim program review for this new agile software development that we've switched to, and now we're not going to have it.
See, that's so important too, because anyone commenting or watching this video, please respond with how many meetings or get-togethers you've been to that were a complete waste of your time where you were unnecessary.
I make jokes about the government all the time because I have been in meetings where we've been meeting to determine how the next meeting is going to go. There's actually one that's scheduled for tomorrow night. There's a phone call scheduled for tomorrow night at 5 p.m. that I cannot be at, that I have a teammate and cohorts at other locations that will be calling in to discuss what we're going to discuss when I have to go to New Jersey in a few weeks.
Yo, dog, I heard you like meetings.
Exactly. Meetingception. Matt Damon's going to star in the government meeting movie.
I can't wait for the day that Matt Damon plays you in a movie.
Hey, man, I can't wait for that day either.
Right?
Hey, do I get to meet Matt Damon? Because I'm on board.
Oh, yeah, we'll be extras.
Hi, I'm Matt Damon.
This hour of the Intentional Academy brought to you by Matt Damon's booking agent. If any of this sounds like it would be helpful to you, which it does, there are 2 things you can do to find out more. The easiest one is to just send an email to rehab@intentionalacademy.com, and all you have to say is, hey, that sounds cool, and we will send you information. If you like to be a little bit more proactive, you can head over to intentionalacademy.com, which Justin would love to show you what it looks like when you get there.
We have
You
switched.
sad-looking, stressed person. Of course, I can't see what Justin's showing you, so I'm going to let him give you the tour.
Yeah, we're on the page. Hopefully this isn't you in this picture, but if it's gotten to that point, we can definitely help. And we have all the information as we scroll down of what the program is, what it can help you do, how we can help you do it, and how to start. So go to intentionalacademy.com and check it out.
Oh, yeah.
If you're interested, email rehab@intentionalacademy.com and we'll hook you up.
The most important thing to keep in mind here is that this isn't some super long, drawn-out thing. It's an hour and a half of videos, and then as much time as you feel that you need to put in to get clarity on these worksheets. And when you're done, you'll have identified all the most important things in your life, figured out how to eliminate redundancy. You'll have budgeted out your time to protect both the free time and the time that you need to be on task for certain things to make sure that everything in your life is moving forward. And then we'll help you schedule that so that it's really well laid out. After that, we're going to help you get control of your money, deal with the wild fluctuations that most college students have to deal with, where one month you get a huge paycheck or a big refund from a student loan coming through, or your internships all summer, and then you got to make that last a while, up and down and all over the place. We'll show you how to deal with that, how to get a budget that doesn't feel restrictive so that you can make sure you're covering the expenses you have while still having some time and some money to enjoy yourself. And then lastly, we didn't really talk about it tonight, and we're not going to now because we've
Too much.
But the third moving wheel in all of this is your career. You're in college for a reason. You're hoping to be somewhere after. And we're going to help jumpstart your career development with getting you going on preparing all your career materials, resumes and cover letters and all of that. But more importantly, we're going to show you how to very strategically grow and very strategically build a network. Number one thing that still is true is that it's not what you know, it's who you know. And we can show you that everybody has time, thanks to the internet, to build a really effective professional network, and it only takes a little bit of effort every day, very minimal. All of that is baked into this experience.
What I recommend is you could watch the time budget video and fit in when you can watch the other videos
Nice.
in your worksheet.
Just like creating your time budget should be an item in your time budget.
Wait a minute. Is this like having a meeting to decide what the meeting's going to be about?
Exactly. I'm very good at that.
Would love this. We are targeting the wrong people.
Yes.
Justin, expect your boss to hear from me immediately. Closing thoughts?
It's awesome. Go
One
check it out.
extra unexpected event I just thought of that all of this can help you with is how much time do you spend freaking out about how much money you have or how little time you think you have, or getting those things in check and not having to worry about it frees your brain up to do some really good deep thinking when it comes to the actual things that matter, why you're there, why you're at school, why
And
you're
it
in your
helps
career.
you focus on what matters. People get so sidetracked and blinders on, and don't miss out on the fun that is college. Also,
Oh yeah.
because you were too stressed out or going down one path, and
prep to go to that football game, that basketball game, prep your gym time, prep your
Or
date
for
night.
non-traditional students, spending time with your family. You can be successful and go to school and still have time for your family.
Nice.
Not everybody is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of non-traditional students out there.
Oh yeah.
Don't forget about them. Especially grad students. Oh
yeah.
My goodness.
Which reminds me, don't let me forget, next week, I've gotten more than one question this week about dealing with, for lack of a better word, abusive advisors.
Okay.
So
And
grad
that's-
student working for an advisor.
You mean like
who-
overworked and things like that?
That would be the lighter version of it, all the
Okay.
way up to and including somebody who's taking a class that's taught by their advisor, and
Okay.
their advisor treats them extra harshly in class, calls them out for not answering a question that they lob out to the class,
Sheesh.
or rides them in front of the classroom about something that didn't work in their research. And
Well, Tony, you and I had the literal exact opposite of that.
we did. We had fantastic advisors, but I've watched plenty of anti-examples, and I've figured out a bit on how to work with and deal with, maybe we could go all the way to just calling it pain in the neck bosses in general.
That will happen to everyone.
Right. And so I think that's a topic that we're going to definitely touch on next week. So if you happen to work for somebody who is a control freak or is a dictator,
yeah.
micromanager, all those kinds of things, drop some comments on this video, hit me up on all the socials, and we'll answer your questions about how to handle that. We'll help you tell your story if you like.
Yeah, leave an anonymous
Oh, yeah.
story too, or send
Yeah.
one out. You want to be anonymous.
Yeah, you can-
so we can share.
Absolutely. You can DM us. You could just email us at rehab and tell us, no, I don't want the rehab, but I want you to hear my story, and we will tell your story anonymously
Hmm.
right here on the show, help people figure out how to handle that stuff, because that's real life.
Yep.
Until then, it is not too late for this to be the best semester of your life. Truly believe that. No matter where you think you are, you can turn this around, experience wild amounts of growth, learn awesome things in your classes and in your work, and just make all these things happen. And it all starts with a simple, easy act of emailing rehab@intentionalacademy.com. That's intentionalacademy.com.
I think it's time to go.
Academy.
You ran out of coffee.
I did.
And it's not even Wednesday.
Hey, thanks everybody.
Stay warm.
Stay safe if
Yes,
you're
stay
the type
safe.
who likes to leave the house after it snowed. And on top of all of that, hit all the buttons down there, like, share, etc. Tag your friend in this post if you think that it would help them. They'll thank you later, I promise. And I'll definitely thank you later.
Oh, yeah.
Till then, have a great night, everybody.
Good night.